Imagine this, you're at the checkout, basket overflowing with groceries. You spot a shiny candy bar strategically placed at eye level. You didn't plan on buying it, but it calls to you. Before you know it, the candy bar joins the rest of your loot. We've all been there. This, my friends, is the psychology of money at play. We often think our financial decisions are rational, based on logic and careful planning. However, the reality is far more intriguing. Our brains, with their quirks and biases, play a significant role in how we perceive and manage money. Understanding these mental patterns can be the key to unlocking a healthier and wealthier financial life. This essay explores the fascinating interplay between psychology and money. We'll delve into various psychological concepts illustrated by real-life examples to shed light on how our minds truly interact with money. From impulse buys to investment decisions, we'll uncover the hidden forces driving our financial behaviors. Get ready for a captivating journey into the psychology of money, where we'll learn to recognize our biases, make smarter choices, and ultimately master our money mindset. Ever wondered why stores put original prices next to discounted ones? This tactic, known as anchoring, leverages a powerful psychological bias. We tend to fixate on the initial piece of information we receive, the anchor, and judge subsequent information in relation to it. In the case of discounts, the original price becomes our anchor. We perceive the discounted price as a bargain, even if it's still higher than what we typically pay. This bias can lead us to spend more than intended simply because the initial anchor skews our perception of value. Think about buying a car. The sticker price, often inflated, acts as an anchor. Even after negotiations, the final price might still be influenced by that initial, higher number. We might feel we've gotten a good deal even if the price remains relatively high. Anchoring highlights how easily our perception of value can be manipulated. Being aware of this bias allows us to make more rational decisions, focusing on the actual worth of a product or service rather than being swayed by arbitrary anchors. Imagine this. You find a $50 bill on the street. You feel lucky and decide to treat yourself to a fancy coffee. Now imagine you received a $50 bonus at work. Would you spend it the same way? Probably not. This is mental accounting in action. We tend to categorize our money mentally, assigning it to different accounts in our heads. Money found on the street feels like free money, encouraging frivolous spending. A work bonus, on the other hand, feels earned and might be allocated to savings or bills. Mental accounting can be helpful in budgeting, allowing us to allocate funds for specific purposes. However, it can also lead to irrational decisions. For instance, we might be more willing to spend money earned from overtime than money from our regular salary, even though it's all the same money in the end. Recognizing mental accounting helps us treat all money equally and make consistent, sensible financial decisions. It's important to remember that money is fungible, meaning it has no inherent labels. Effective money management requires a holistic view, considering all income and expenses as part of a unified financial picture. Imagine you're offered a gamble, a 50% chance of winning $100 and a 50% chance of losing $100. Would you take it? Most people wouldn't. This is due to loss aversion, the tendency to feel the pain of a loss more strongly than the pleasure of an equivalent gain. Loss aversion can make us overly cautious, clinging to what we have even if change could be beneficial. For example, we might hold on to a losing investment for too long, hoping it will recover rather than cutting our losses and investing elsewhere. This bias can also affect our spending habits. We might be reluctant to spend money even on things we enjoy because we focus more on the potential loss of money than the potential gain of experience or enjoyment. Understanding loss aversion can help us make more rational financial decisions. It encourages us to weigh potential gains and losses objectively, without letting the fear of loss dominate our choices. Sometimes accepting a small loss can lead to greater gains in the long run. Confirmation bias, investing in what we want to believe. Imagine researching a company you're considering investing in. You stumble upon an article praising its potential. Do you readily accept this information, or do you actively seek out opposing viewpoints? This is where confirmation bias comes into play. We tend to favor information that confirms our existing beliefs and dismiss information that challenges them. This bias can lead us to make poor investment decisions, as we might only seek out positive news about a company, ignoring potential red flags. Confirmation bias can also affect our financial planning. We might stick to a budget that's clearly not working because we're clinging to the belief that it should work. We might ignore evidence suggesting we need to adjust our spending habits. Overcoming confirmation bias requires actively seeking out diverse perspectives and challenging our own assumptions. When it comes to financial decisions, it's crucial to consider all sides of the story, even if it means confronting uncomfortable truths. Objectivity and willingness to change our minds are essential for sound financial planning. Herd mentality, following the crowd, for better or worse. Remember the dot-com bubble? Everyone was investing in internet startups driven by the fear of missing out. This is a classic example of herd mentality, the tendency to follow the crowd even if it means going against our own judgment. In finance, herd mentality can lead to speculative bubbles, where asset prices become inflated due to hype and speculation rather than real value. When the bubble bursts, as it inevitably does, many investors suffer significant losses. Herd mentality can also affect our everyday spending habits. We might buy the latest gadget because everyone else is, even if we don't really need it. We might feel pressured to keep up with our peers' lifestyles, leading to unnecessary expenses. Resisting herd mentality requires independent thinking and a healthy dose of skepticism. It's important to base our financial decisions on our own goals and research rather than blindly following the crowd. Remember, what works for others might not work for us, and what's popular isn't always what's best. The endowment effect. My precious, imagine you've won a coffee mug in a raffle. You wouldn't normally pay much for a mug, but now that you own it, you're reluctant to sell it for anything less than a premium price. This is the endowment effect, the tendency to overvalue things we own simply because we own them. The endowment effect can lead to poor financial decisions. We might hold on to assets like inherited property for sentimental reasons, even if selling them would be financially beneficial. We might overpay for items we already own, just because we're attached to them. Recognizing the endowment effect allows us to be more objective about the value of our possessions. It's important to detach our emotions from financial decisions, focusing on the actual worth of an asset rather than our sentimental attachment to it. Sometimes, letting go of something we cherish can open doors to greater financial opportunities. Overconfidence, the illusion of control. Imagine you're playing a game of chance. You feel a surge of confidence, convinced you'll win. This is overconfidence bias, the tendency to overestimate our abilities and knowledge. In finance, overconfidence can lead to risky investments. We might believe we can predict the market better than we actually can, leading to poor portfolio allocation and potential losses. We might underestimate the risks involved in certain investments, blinded by our perceived expertise. Overconfidence can also affect our saving habits. We might overestimate our future income and underestimate our future expenses, leading to inadequate savings. We might believe we have more control over our financial future than we actually do. Acknowledging overconfidence requires humility and a willingness to seek advice from financial experts. It's crucial to recognize the limits of our knowledge and be prepared for unexpected events. Sound financial planning involves acknowledging uncertainty and building in buffers for potential setbacks. Framing the power of words. Imagine you're offered a choice: a surgery with a 90% survival rate or a surgery with a 10% mortality rate. Both options describe the same outcome, but the way they're framed affects our perception. This is framing the influence of wording and presentation on our choices. In finance, framing can significantly impact our decisions. For example, a financial product presented as an opportunity might seem more appealing than one presented as a risk, even if the underlying investment is the same. A limited time offer can create a sense of urgency, prompting us to spend more than intended. Understanding framing helps us see through marketing tactics and focus on the substance of financial decisions. It's essential to analyze the underlying facts and figures rather than being swayed by clever wording or persuasive presentations. Critical thinking and objective evaluation are crucial for making sound financial choices. Conclusion. Mastering your money mindset. The psychology of money is a captivating field, revealing the intricate ways our brains influence our financial decisions. From anchoring to overconfidence, we've explored various psychological biases that can lead to both irrational choices and savvy strategies. Understanding these biases is the first step towards mastering our money mindset. By recognizing our tendencies and actively challenging them, we can make more informed, rational financial decisions. This involves being aware of marketing tactics, recognize how anchoring, framing, and other techniques can influence your spending habits, seeking diverse perspectives, challenge confirmation bias by actively seeking out information that contradicts your beliefs, thinking independently, resist herd mentality by basing your financial decisions on your own goals and research, detaching emotions from financial decisions, acknowledge the endowment effect and loss aversion, but don't let them dictate your choices. Mastering your money mindset is an ongoing journey. It requires continuous learning, self-reflection, and a willingness to adapt. By understanding the psychology of money, we can unlock a path to greater financial well-being and a more prosperous future.